Imagine
A podcast.
where time drifts slowly,
A podcast.
where
Isaac.
carries you away.
So let me be clear. We tortured some folks.
Hey, it's Isaac, and welcome to another episode of Coexist Inc. Thanks for joining me. Today, we're going to be talking about gay music.
We are becoming cyborgs. Like, our brains are fundamentally changed. Everyone who grew up with electronics, we are fundamentally different from Homo sapiens. I call us Homo Techno.
I am gay. I like men. I lift weights. I can dance.
And how modern pop artists pursue the gay culture stamp of approval for their latest bop, for their latest hit. I'm joined by comedian AJ Marroquin and Cy from the Soundgeist, which is an online music account and music publication. But before we get into any of that stuff, we have to say goodbye to a good boy. My dog Cooper, I should say our family dog Cooper, who one day just showed up at my parents' doorstep. He died this morning. So I have to give him a eulogy, a proper goodbye, and you all have to listen to it. We don't know exactly what Cooper was. Possibly beagle, bulldog, pit bull. But anyway, he just showed up at our front doorstep one day, and we could not get rid of him. This is 15 years ago. And he was a very interesting dog. He was a tasking dog. He was neurotic and kind of brilliant, but incredibly lazy. He could open any door. Like he was so clever at just opening doors that for the first time in my parents' history, they started locking all the doors in the house. So Cooper made us all get keys. Thank you, Cooper. Cooper was, again, he was kind of a nightmare of a dog. He would get in fights with other dogs, even though he's the sweetest boy. He just had this weird, temper trigger that if another dog would set him off, he had sent both other. He'd been to the vet. He sent other dogs to the vet, and he sent a couple people to the human vet, the hospital. It seemed like he was gonna live forever for a while. He was just really hanging in there, and I was almost convinced that he was immortal, that he would never die. Because he was a god. He was a bodhisattva sent from Earth to teach us mortals lessons. And the lessons that he taught us, I think, were not to get angry. The uselessness of anger as an emotion. Because this guy, Cooper, he would wreak havoc. And it would test your patience, and you'd get mad at him, and you'd yell at him, and you'd smack him on the butt. And he'd look at you with this cow-eyed expression of innocence. Like, what? What would you have me do? Because he was teaching us the lesson of nature, of the nature of things, of the nature of beings. And to get mad at Cooper is almost like getting mad at the wind for blowing in your face. Like, that's just what he does. If you leave food out, even on a table, Cooper will find a way to get it. And so if you come home and there was a big mess, and you yelled at him for it, it's like, well, what would you expect me to do? What would I do other than precisely that? So the anger should be, or the frustration should be at yourself. Well, that's right. That's Cooper's nature. I shouldn't have left that out, or I shouldn't have left this door open, or whatever. again, any anger that arose from his actions was met with this cow-eyed innocence, and it made a mockery of how silly anger is. So yeah, it's definitely tough. I think it's important for kids to learn death at an early age if possible. Ideally not through horrific war crimes that beset them, their country, and their family. But the death of a pet, I think it can be a very maturing moment in life. It's good to be sad. It feels good to be sad. It's nice to feel, to be reminded that you can feel when sometimes things feel scary and numb. So yeah, anyway, we're going to talk about gay stuff. And if you haven't already, please sign up for the Patreon. I'm actually going to be putting out a Patreon-only episode this week where I kind of speed run through a lot of conspiracies that people sent me on Instagram. And I'm also going to be talking a little bit more at length about that Chiquita banana settlement. So if any of you are looking for an argument against a vegan who tries to morally shame you, tell them that bananas are pretty fucking evil too.
He was a friend of mine. Every time I think about him now, Lord, I just can't keep from crying. 'Cause he was a friend of mine.
So yeah, again, this is our first time meeting. AJ, you and I just started following each other because I stole something you made, and you were like, "Hey, tag me," and I'm like, "I'd love to do that."
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, someone sent me just a screen. Honestly, it's so funny when it's humbling when someone sends you something that you made on Photoshop like really poorly, because they're like, "Hey, this is on a meme page," and I always have to message the meme page. And normally the meme page is called something crazy like, you know, like Daddy Dick 420, and I have to be like, "Hey, I know it's like 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, but do you mind like going ahead and giving me credit on that, please? I'm in a business meeting, and I'm just like begging for that credit." But yeah, thank you for doing that. It's nice to meet you through that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember where everyone saw it. I think someone else stole it from you, and I just saw it, and I was like, "That's so funny. I have to use it just to fill it up." There we go. So now I have a better themed background, perhaps, for today's topic for the show.
Perfect.
I actually am family friends with the late Paul Rubens. He's from here in Sarasota, and he went to high school with my dad.
R.I.P.
He was a real one. So initially, this episode, Cyrus wanted to talk about music categorizations. And I was like, "Yeah, let's do that." But then the whole Charlie Brat XCX thing happened, and I was like, "Well, there's some overlap here. It's Pride Month. It got to be topical in the news," and so I figured we'd lump the two together. So Cyrus, I don't know if this might be more than you signed up for. Like some of the topics we're gonna have here, but I think we're all pretty friendly people. I'm sure we have some cancelable ideas. I am currently being canceled in a former group chat that Cyrus and I were in because I'm.
Well. Guess who just got kicked out of Starbucks for, you guessed it, being white?
There's like 34 accusations. There's so many. We lost count.
Yeah, that was nuts.
This comes out after I agree to the podcast.
You should have done your research, dude. I'm out there. I put all my shit. I mean, and AJ, I watched some of your stand up. It had me cracking up. I was looking at your Twitter, and I was like, okay, I think he's on the level. I think he'll have. Yeah, you seem like a fun guy.
I'll take that. Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna talk about music, but we're also gonna answer the question: can my bisexual girlfriend bring me to the Pride Parade? Is that cool? Can I go?
Wearing?
Can I? What am I wearing? train conductor overalls, no underwear.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So it's
Yeah.
about how you dress. You know, it's there's a I get the gatekeeping. I feel like Pride should it sucks if everyone's invited to the party in a way, right? Like
Even Deloitte's invited these days.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like can you imagine like seeing Elon Musk show up to a Pride parade? That's when you know it's fucking done. When the straightest man on earth, if he shows up to your parade, it's over, right?
The straightest man on earth. That's yeah.
He is,
I mean,
right? He has to be. Elon Musk is the straightest guy in the world, right?
Yeah, it's him and then it's like my dad. Top two. They're fighting for the top spot. I think it's crazy because I could see Elon Musk going to Pride and also having like a lot of supporters that are just like, hell yeah, like we love that Elon's here. You know, I would still see him like being pretty well received probably by some gays.
I did see that cyber truck, the gay cyber truck, the one they painted rainbow. So it's kind of there. Oh shit, formalities. We got to introduce ourselves to the audience because they can't see you. But everybody knows me. Welcome to another episode of Coexist Inc. If you're listening, you know me. It's Isaac. I have two guests today to talk about. I haven't even decided exactly what the topic is, but it's going to be about music categorization and gay gatekeeping of music. Yeah. that's not the title. That's like a mouthful. I'll figure out something clever. But for the time being, that's just kind of where we're going to go. We'll see what happens. But please introduce yourselves. We'll start alphabetically. AJ, what's up?
Hey, I'm AJ Marroquin. I'm a stand-up comedian and I don't know, internet addict. And I'm gay. Mom and Dad, I'm gay.
I'm so honored you'd pick my show to come out to your parents on. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey everyone. I'm Cy. I'm part of the account, the Soundgeist. We're a pretty popular music meme page, cultural critique commentator. We also have a newsletter, which is a little more serious than our meme page, but it helps drive growth. So happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Isaac. And I'm representing the minority group of straight people this month. So glad glad we have a voice.
Finally, thank you. It's tough. So yeah, we have a music expert and a gay expert on the show to talk about these two subjects.
Don't tell my wife and kids. Don't tell my wife and kids. But yeah,
those are the two jobs in 2030.
You do have an excellent beard. You make a great beard.
Thank you.
Your secret's safe with
Thank
me.
you.
But yeah, so we're in the waning weeks of Pride Month. It's been a pretty nondescript Pride Month to me. I don't there's nothing that sticks out in particular this year. Have you guys been paying it? Is there anything about this year's Pride Month that sticks out to you guys?
I don't know about me. I'm more of an observer, and AJ, I don't know if you catch this, but does Pride Month feel like a little less like strong this month than it has like a couple years ago? Like, I feel like 2022, I was in New York then. It was just nonstop partying all the time, and now this kind of feels like it's there, but it's kind of like, a season of a show that you're not really keeping up with anymore.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think there's so many like different factors that make a year that has a specific Pride Month for a specific year work out. Like it's like post-COVID lockdown, that following Pride, when people were like able to be out and about, that was crazy. People were like, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna fist someone in front of a 7-Eleven or whatever you do in your region for Pride. This is in Chicago, and they were like really, really about it. And then we've kind of like hit these waves of no corporate things at Pride, no cops at Pride, and also this year being very politically driven. I know at least in Chicago there are certain events being like boycotted and protested against because of their ties to certain political affiliations. And it does kind of feel like, I talk to a lot of people that live in Chicago, or like even if my friends in New York, I'm like, are you gonna go to your Pride parade this year? And they're like, no, I'll probably gonna sit this one out. It's like feels very like a little bit of a pullback this year than it was for other years.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me. My Pride Month or my Pride Day personally is 9/11. That's my favorite holiday. And the past couple 9/11s have been kind of lame. They're not as fun as they used to be. So I wonder if everything is just getting like lamer over time.
I remember the post-COVID 9/11 was huge. Everyone was out and about, just kind of swinging around from the stoplights.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's been too politicized now.
Yeah, it's just I think when everyone kind of starts to 9/11 was fun when it was kind of edgy and like people were like you can't say that, and now like my grandma says Bush did 9/11 and it's just like it's just not fun anymore. So
It feels like kind of like
terrible.
celebrating like St. Patrick's Day in the most like non-Irish town possible. It's like saying St. Patrick's Day in you know in El Paso, something like that, where it's like yeah, it's there, but no one really has the spirit.
The Irish population of El Paso, Texas, they're pissed off right now. They're coming for you.
yeah,
Hear 'em.
be careful.
Who knows? Maybe they have a very proud population there, and then we just
They're like, get your Dropkick Murphys shirts on, boys. We're making our way.
So I guess that's why this Pride, what sticks out to me, or at least like the conversations I've heard, has aligned with a lot of music drops. And the Charlie XCX Brat album seems to have positioned itself as like the album of Pride, or at least she's reaching for the gays. And I want to talk about music categorization, which Cy is a lot of what you have been working about with your like musical compasses, but also why is it so important for artists to get that stamp of approval from the gay community? Why it seems very, very coveted, and you see a lot of people make heel turns, career turns to appease this gay community that lets you say, like, okay, you're good, right? You're in. Is it? And I wonder, is there a financial incentive involved, or is it just kind of like? Sometimes I wonder if it's like, how white people want to be invited to the cookout so bad, like it's like that. So let's talk Charlie XCX and her. Where we would categorize her. How are you guys? What are you guys' thoughts on Charlie XCX and her new album in particular?
So I'll let you lead on this one. I'm going to give a disclaimer of I'm so bad at when it comes to describing music or anything really. I'm like terrible with adjectives. I'm always like that sounds so good. It's a really good album. Or when someone's like, what genre is this? I'm like, it's kind of like pop, techno. So, so if you want to speak to categorization, please, by all means.
No, definitely. Yeah, no, I think first off, what makes it so good is it's actually a good album. It's a difference between like something that's just being pushed. Like one example, like I just think Espresso does not have the it factor. It does not feel like a song of the summer for me. It's everywhere, people playing it, but it doesn't feel like it's really people excited to hear it. The Charlie one, it's just a combination of a well-produced piece that feels like authentic at the same time. It's a fun album you can like party to, and at the same time it's like well produced. And I think that kind of is like a combination of something we've been really kind of dying for. Like we have so much pop music and it gets plays, but it doesn't really feel like it's any more than skin deep. Where the Charlie one, I'm really big on like kind of lyrics and backstory and stuff. There's a lot of long storied explanations in the album, what like what it represents from her rise as a more smaller artist to now a lot more prominent, how she feels, while the tracks are her dealing with how her career is going to progress. She wants to have a family, how she feels about Taylor. So it's a very human album too, which I feel that we don't really get that much in mainstream music.
Yeah, I agree. I think authenticity is a really good thing to call out about that. And I think coming from the Crash album before that, where it's almost just like nonstop, like radio pop bangers, like you're proving that you can do like mainstream culture really well. To go from that to like, a song about thinking about like your biological clock and then moving to a song immediately afterwards about just like, let's, hit a line about it is such it's a real thing for everybody. It's like, I think anyone can listen to that and be like, oh man, like that's so true. Like I do want to party, but I do want to have a family and I am facing these insecurities. And it's a nice thing to see. It's a refreshing thing, I think, compared to what we see otherwise.
It kind of reminds me of, and not totally a diss, but it kind of reminds me of like why like people like A24 so much, and it's more mainstream. They have great movies, but they're not like the most incredible deep cinema out there. But it is better than like the mainstream blockbuster stuff. that's what the Charlie album reminds me of. You can get a lot weirder music out there, but it doesn't have mass appeal. But I think people are really happy, like finally something that relates to someone that's not just this, glean plastic kind of export that we get.
Agreed.
Yeah, I've enjoyed a few of the songs. The most controversial song on the album, "Mean Girls," is a bad song.
You say she's anorexic and you heard she likes some people say it. Think you already know it, but you don't. This one's for all my mean girls.
But it's been getting a lot of TikTok hate because of its association with Dime Square Red Scare girlies, like the hip right wing stuff. If you listen to my show, you probably know a little bit about Red Scare. I have bitched about them in the past. But Charlie has kind of apparently tried to evade it, and on an Instagram story, she was upset at some of the criticism she's got for people accusing her of making this right-wing turn by associating herself with people like Dasha from Red Scare. And then Azalea Banks, who I think seems particularly beloved within the gay community, said on her Instagram, and I quote, "Really, sis, you never seen somebody receive hateful comments online? LMAO, you are so damn phony, Charlie. You've been bending over for the gays for years, and they all still think you're a snooze fest. Stop being such a performative hag. The gays think you're boring. Sis, give it up." And I'm all for the drama. I love the catty. I mean, Azalea Banks is so funny to me, and she has some great music. She has some really bad music, but the fact that she is now trying to position herself as like the queen of the gays, still, I think she still holds that position for a lot of people. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that Charlie has been bending over, like she said, for the gays, and she's still not accepted in that community?
No, I don't think so at all. And to be fair, I love Azalea Banks. Like, I love Broke with Expensive Taste is one of my favorite albums. I love anything that she's put out. I think she's so smart. Any of her interviews, really, when she like goes beyond tweets and can like actually like be on record and explain like what she's talking about, I'm always like, hell yeah, I understand what you're saying completely. But more recently, I was seeing like posts where she was like getting fooled by like, I think there was like a AG Cook had like a Discord bot that would just like post random like things if someone like asked it a question and asked it a question about like Azalea Banks. They just posted like a stream of like a negative review about her album, and then that sent her all on a spiral about a lot of other things, especially related to Charlie. And there's another one where like someone made like a piece of AI art that she thought was real and it wasn't real, and I was like, AI has been kind of like kicking her ass a little bit on Twitter, so I'm gonna take like some of those comments with a grain of salt. But when it comes to like bending over for the gays, I don't think so. I think when you look at like Charlie's music trajectory, and I've been listening to Charlie XCX since like she had like the Heartbreaks and Earthquakes like mixtape on SoundCloud. It was like so genius. It was like sampling Drake and Blood Orange, and it had like 90s like clips like ran through it. I think she just kind of runs parallel with what gay culture is, which is like you're quoting Cruel Intentions during that time. You are using clips from the movie The Craft. You're doing synth. Like, it's just like it doesn't feel like she's bending over for the gays really at all. If she was, I mean, I'm sure we would have had like a lot of way worse albums before Brat if she was really trying to cater to gay people.
Yeah, that's a same on Iron. It doesn't feel like there's really any catering going on, and also it seems like Charlie has kind of definitely broken out of just kind of being known as a gay artist. It's like there's a lot of mass appeals, more now than ever at Brat. Like when I think of Charlie fans, there's the like kind of long-term association with gay culture, but I'm also thinking you're just your standard East Village girl who works in Midtown who might be like a marketing coordinator, but she went to Michigan or something. She's the Charlie fan, and it's just kind of a mass appeal of like anyone who kind of considers themselves a little like trendy or artsy, they like Charlie.
Yeah, for me, I've only barely followed Charlie. I've enjoyed her as a pop artist, and there are aspects of the hyperpop movement that I've enjoyed, but it's not something I put on. I'm much more likely to put on Azalea Banks than I am Charlie XCX. But
I just
think
love Charlie because she's making more and more mainstream Blade and Young Lean. I love the Young Lean remix she did, and maybe I'm an accelerationist, but I'm waiting for hyperpop to be in the mainstream.
I guess it kind of is. I feel like K-pop is gonna infiltrate the hyperpop movement and make it mainstream is my prediction. But I guess what I find more interesting about this kind of conversation is not the quality of the music, but it is this idea that there are artists who are trying to cater to the gay community. That there is, again, that it is this badge of honor. It is this being invited to the cookout. And I can think of some instances of artists doing that were complete flops. Do you guys remember Rebecca Black?
Down to the bus stop, gotta catch my bus. I see my friends kicking in the front seat, sitting in the back seat. Gotta make my mind up, which seat can I take? It's Friday, gotta get down on Friday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She became famous for that song Friday when she was like 13 or something. And then she tried to reinvent herself as like a hyperpop artist and had Dorian Electra and Big Frida. And then is it Ohio or just 303 or what is it? What's that band called? That I don't know. I forget what they're. You guys want to talk about 303?
It's Rebecca Black, Dorian Electra, 303, and Big Frida. It's the fucking weekend, people. It's Friday.
Oh, 303?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they're not. I don't think they're gay. But they seem, for whatever reason, they're featured on this song. But she tried to make this turn, and clearly to cater to the gay community. And then I think you have other artists who do. I guess they're being accused of like queer baiting, kind of like Bad Bunny, and who is the English rat guy? He was in that big band, One Direction. Harry Styles.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And so a lot of artists make these sort of overtures to the gay community for, I think, financial and professional reasons. And it seems like that's kind of what Azalea is accusing Charlie of. Do you guys think that there's like do you guys think about that at all?
I feel so. I mean, even to, I cannot believe I'm saying this, but actually I can't believe I'm saying this. Not to be like in defense of Rebecca Black, but I do think that Rebecca Black is also someone where I feel like she's kind of in that same like LA kind of like culture scene of like it's her and like, you know, Slater, and I think she had a collab with Slater or something. I remember there's recent like a friend of mine she had like huge prosthetic boobs, like her and Slater did for the cover of this album. A friend did the prosthetics for it. And it just feels very like, I think her music feels more like LA, like DIY hyperpop house party, like leaning. And she's just not there yet, I don't think, in terms of like the quality of it. But I can also see how that gets confused for being like kind of gay pandering. I feel like even with like Harry Styles, I think it almost comes down more to exposure. And I think when a guy does it, it seems a little bit more obvious because it's like you have this like hardcore, like Harry Styles' strongest base of fans is like the young girl, which is like the young girls are like the second, or probably one of the strong. It's like if there was gonna be like an apocalyptic face off between like F slurs and like anybody else, it's gonna be like the teenage girl, and they're going to fight each other to the death for their artist. And I feel like he has all of those people, but then also it's like, okay, well now I'm wearing a skirt as a poncho and I'm like wearing my grandmother's wedding dress outside. Now you're like getting into what feels more like a, well, are they gay or are they not gay? And they're not talking about their sexuality. And that's what feels more like pandering to me, I guess.
Yeah. That's interesting too. Like in one way too, like if whether it's pandering, or I feel it also could just be a distinct like regional difference. Like in the for example, like let's say we take the straightest indie sleaze dude you can find in Brooklyn, straight dude, but he's wearing kind of high-waisted trousers kind of patch tattoos, may has a couple of rings on, but exclusively only dates women. You take them out, plop them, let's say Chicago or Denver, any kind of like big or Midwest non-coastal city, people will assume, is that guy gay? I think it's very much kind of a regional thing where it's almost kind of like the culture kind of runs parallel to kind of, I guess, more of a refined aesthetic, which anywhere else, is when we had like 20 years ago when metrosexual first popped out, where you had to be a
Yeah.
distinct sexuality if you washed your hair.
Yeah. Or like also on the reverse, what I love seeing now is the true camo coming from Kansas, like or Midwest areas, like just or like, very like classically straight areas being turned into like more of just like what is queer fashion, where it's just like now someone's wearing like camo utility pants and a hunter's vest, and it's like a little twink like just wearing that shit is so funny to me.
I don't know if you've seen the merch that I sell, the camo hat, but you're talking about this.
So the gay pandering calls are coming from inside the house here. All right,
yeah.
the Rebecca Black of baseball.
I'm just
caps.
embracing my Florida roots, man. Okay, that's what this is. All right. But yeah, I've always associated good taste with gay men. There's a very strong gay arts community where I grew up, and the gay men just always had like the best houses, and ate the best food. And so I think there's always been this association of good taste with gay men. I tried to find some like literary articles about it on the internet. So I Googled something like gay men and good taste. And all I got back were just the most obnoxious undergrad liberal arts theses, like something like contextualizing the deconstruction of queer ice cream spaces from an ahistorical post-gender perspective. Like trying to so I didn't get any proper answers about why the gay aesthetics are like just good, I guess. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's like just a stereotype for a lot of, or what? There's truth in stereotypes, of course, but
Yeah.
where does that come from, you think?
I think, well, okay, I think that taste is subjective. Obviously it is, but I think that there's something to be said about, is it good taste, or is it like the loudest person in the room like talking about what is good and what is not good? Because I mean, when I think about gay taste, there's even levels to that. Like I don't personally believe. Backstory for me, I used to work as a store manager for Hot Topic in Kansas, in the state of Kansas. Okay?
Amazing. That's
And so
good.
I had like gay customers who were like ICP fans, who were wearing like, they're like, 300 pounds. They're wearing like an extra small like crop top t-shirt, and they have like an LMFAO fitted cap on. And this is probably like, they could be wearing that like last month. You know what I mean? And to them, that's their taste level. And they're like, there's nothing else, honey, this is fashion. Like, you can't tell me that this shit isn't like the hottest shit like you ever seen. Like, I'm wearing this shit for real. But if I saw that and someone told me to wear that, I'd be like, oh my God, take me out back and empty the fucking clip. You know what I mean? But I do think like historically, yeah, there is like some kind of something to be said about gay taste levels. And I think Fran Lebowitz had a really good point where she was talking in an interview about how before, like when the AIDS crisis happened, there was a huge shift in what was actually in good taste and not, because all of like the people with the refined palates and everyone that was out there and was like fucking cool and having sex and being carefree and like rock and roll, all those gay men died during that time, and what we were left with were basically like the gay virgin losers. And that's where like art took a negative turn, which is a really fun viewpoint, I think, of what gay taste levels are. But to be fair, I see so many straight people or people of any kind of like sexual orientation that have like a much more refined taste level. It just kind of depends, I guess, like what gays you're around.
Yeah, I think, everyone likes to talk about spectrums, and everybody's a little bit gay, right?
A little bit gay, a little bit autistic.
A little bit autistic. I would like to add that everybody is a little bit Jewish. As a Jew, I'm a Jew.
I'll take it.
Everybody, I think, is deep down spiritually Jewish, especially in the modern world, because I think to be Jewish to me is to be wandering, to be not of the earth itself. There is like an ephemeral Jewishness that we all experience through alienation, because Jews were forcibly alienated from the land throughout our history. I think that we're all in the 21st century feeling a bit of that. So, yeah, there's you see a lot of self-loathing. I mean, I don't know if Jews invented that. Sometimes I feel like we did, but if you really hate Jews, you hate yourself. I noticed that a lot too with a lot of straight presenting men, the most homophobic of the lot, are typically, it's like, yeah, you're at least a little bit gay, dude. That's why you like hate gay guys so much, clearly, because there's like so much self-loathing going on there. So still, I do think that it's not a coincidence, the same way it's not a coincidence that like Jews have an inordinate amount of power compared to our like how many people of us there are in the world. There are a lot of gay men in these particular positions of aesthetic choices. And so that doesn't seem like a coincidence. Like there is something there.
First off, that was all completely beautiful, by the way. There should be like some kind of like Zen meditation sound playing through all. We're all wandering. I'm like, oh my God, yes, wake that up. No, I agree. I mean, Cy, do you have any? Who do you consider to be a tastemaker in like your life? Like, what are your thoughts on? Like, who do you consider to be like the pinnacle of taste?
Yeah, with mine, there's just so much media out there, film, music. Like I like kind of unapologetic. Like I really stick to like main sources. I read a ton, but really like I try to filter out like the good from the bad. And it's not a perfect system, but if like a movie wins an Oscar, that gives a point in my book. Like someone thought well enough that this got nominated for something. Same with music. If it's kind of universally good opinions, things like that, then definitely kind of registers. I'm a shameless NPR listener. NPR is straight. I trust what they bring to the table. I'll give it a listen. They bring plenty, and that's kind of how I approach things. And then our online community, it's almost too much. You don't want to drown, but you can dip your toes in and have enough recommendations for a couple of years. So really kind of enjoy kind of like the other OC creators that we're associated with. Just I guess to give some shout outs, Herman, is I think great in like many regards from anything online culture. Really big fan of Nolia Dirtbag. I think he has a really good kind of grasp of the New York zeitgeist in terms of across the board from restaurants, culture, events, things like that. Namaste at Home Dad, I think really kind of has a good understanding of what is enjoyable, what's funny, what can be transformed into something. So that's a long answer, but it's kind of an infinite list.
So you're telling me you liked the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once because it won the Oscar?
I think it was good. I don't think it was amazing, but if a movie's overrated, that at least means it's good. Like any overrated movie is a decent movie.
Someone described that movie to me as a student film that got $1 billion, but $1 billion budget. I wasn't a big fan of that movie. But yeah, to bring it to Cy, the thing that you've been doing with music, that musical compass thing, I wonder if we can't do that really quickly with some gay musical artists and where they fit on this compass. And the compass that I've thought of, and I'm happy to amend it, is gay and straight on one axis, and then fascist and communist on the other.
Those are some good axes. I like that.
Yeah, you like that one? I don't know. So where does Charlie XCX's Brat fit on that compass, you guys think? Because she has been, again, her associations with the Dime Square Red Scare subculture group. She hasn't really shed those allegations quite yet.
Yeah, I would say, think about it. I would say maybe about a quarter into the gay quadrant, and about maybe a quarter, like a quarter kind of towards fascist, but still,
okay.
bridging the line. And I think it's a
canceled. Okay, good.
These are not my opinions. This is just the scientific
Yeah,
formula
it's just science. Yeah, you can't blame the guy for just crunching the numbers here. Okay, it's like the bell curve argument about IQ.
We put the inputs in. This is what the system gave us, the compass.
Okay.
Because when you think of too, that whole Dime Square, it's been a big push on their end to kind of capture some type of like aesthetic, where the most extreme examples are showing fascists throughout history, Prada and all the other fashion labels who you don't want to ask them what they're doing in the 30s or 40s. So I think I put Charlie in that area, in a sense where there's also like an edge to it. And when you say those axes, when I think of communists, I feel like communists doesn't really have an edge. In the 50s, if you're a communist, that was edgy. That was pretty crazy. Nowadays, I feel that's kind of the default for anyone in their 20s and early 30s.
Yeah, I don't give anyone credit for putting a hammer and sickle in their profile bio. It's usually a red flag.
What about the graphic that's like a dildo and a sickle? Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I've seen
one.
it with the
Hitachi.
Thank you. I've seen the Hitachi one. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, yeah, you scythe like wheat during the day and you jerk off at night. I think that's an ideal way of living. It is interesting to me with the Red Scare stuff. How many Red Scare has a ton of gay listeners. I mean, are you guys like? Do you guys listen to it? Like, pay attention to it at all? AJ, that's a good sign. Appreciate you for that. I pay too much attention. Maybe.
I feel like I know a lot of people that do, and they're very like I appreciate getting the filtered information from them. I don't want to have to like listen. I don't want to listen and make my own decisions with my own thoughts. No, I want someone to listen to it for me, kind of give me the summary and like let me know what's happening. So like, yes, that way I have heard of them, but I don't actively listen.
Yeah, not a listener, but I keep up with Josh on socials, so that's how I observe. But I look, but I don't listen.
Yeah, Dasha and Anna, they have like NPR voice, but for pro Anna girls and self-loathing gays. Like the same way you listen to NPR and it has like that timbre that you like. Like for Red Scare, I think it has that same sort of ASMR effect on those people.
Especially during the holiday season, they got the sweaty balls featured.
Okay.
I also think like regarding the Mean Girls song too, it's like it is from what I've seen, because I feel like now that we've been in, what is this? Is this like week 3 of Brat? I'm just considering changing the month of June to
God, it feels like
it's
forever, right? It feels like it's been that color green is like haunting my dreams now. I can't stand it.
I was gonna buy a beach umbrella, and the only beach umbrella left was that color of green. And I was like, I could not stand. I knew I just know if like I had that, I would be on like every Instagram story in one day on that gay beach across from my apartment. Like, there's just no way. I'm just gonna actually go and cook myself in the sun instead. But I feel like at this point, we're getting to these levels of discourse where people are finally like really analyzing the album. And I've seen the references or like the quote tweets about like, this is about the homegirl from Red Scare. And then so many replies are like fitting. It's like my least favorite song of the album, or it's like the least like, not coherent, but the least, the song in the album we could just do without. And it almost doesn't feel like this is like my, like, it's like when I listen to it, I don't really feel it as like, this is like Charlie being like, oh, I'm advocating. It's just like, this is for like this group that otherwise probably not who my album's about at all. It's just like, oh, and you guys too. Like, that's like what it kind of feels like to me, or maybe that's just like my preferential listen to it. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen a lot of people like kind of like tearing that little bit of it apart.
It does feel like, I mean, I feel like gay humor is frequently edgy. It kind of has to be. I remember that the first gay comedian that I remember was Scott Thompson from Kids in the Hall. Do you guys are Canadian? You must know Kids in the Hall. You guys both know Kids in the Hall, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I would come home from like middle school every day and watch Kids in the Hall, and Scott Thompson was like this overtly gay guy. The character he did, Buddy, was it Buddy? What was it, Buddy Rich? Was the guy's the gay character he did? Anyway. But it was like it was so raunchy and so edgy. And that I guess I've always associated like gay humor with like humor that pushes the boundaries. I'll say, AJ, some of your stuff I listened to, I was like, God damn, that's fucking crazy. So
you can get away. I mean, it's a common joke amongst gay people. Like, you can get away with so much, and especially like it's the combo of being a man and being a gay person together is this most insane dynamic of I can get away with almost anything I want to. Also, it's like I'm a white passing Mexican guy, so like now I'm just a white guy, a white mean gay guy. It's like, hell yeah, I can just whistle my way through life. Like I specifically remember working at this job. I was completely not equipped to be working at where I was working at, but my boss was like a 17-foot tall, like Amazonian volleyball fag hag lady, and she was obsessed with me. And she would just be like, "Oh my God, AJ, I need to see you in my office." I'd go in there, and she'd be like, "Okay, bitch, like, what did you get into this weekend?" And I'm like, "Okay, Christine, I was hanging out with my friend." She's like, "Okay, slut vibes. Like, I love you for that. Like, you're being wild." And so like they want to like kind of like coax that out of me, and I would only take advantage of it if I wanted something. It was a very parasitic relationship. Now I'm talking about it, it's like, it seems very abusive. But like, I would basically just like sit in her office and be her pet and drink like 30 ounces of like Starbucks cold brew a day with her and like just talk shit and be really mean. And it's like, you can just get away with so much. And I think that's when it comes down to comedy too. A lot of comedians can get away with so much, but I think it's also in like how you like play out like what you say. And it's, you know, you can call it a specific truth to some things without being I don't know. You see some people also ride the really harsh lines of like critiquing, and that's the thing about with gay people too, or gay men specifically, because I feel like I don't want to like lump in lesbians are the real tastemakers of humor. Queer women are the funniest people ever, but I feel like with gay men, it's like it's either a fine line between like diva worship or diva destruction, and there's like no like that's it. You know what I mean?
There is something incredibly appealing about divas, and I think that's something that we're universally attracted to are catty, bitchy, mean people because they're so entertaining. And I think that's like honestly why Donald Trump is so successful, because he is pretty queer coded to me in that he is a catty gay man at heart. Like he is constantly like critiquing what people are wearing.
And when I watched her in the fancy dress that probably wasn't so fancy come up, I said, "What's she doing? We won."
And being just so bitchy that even like the straightest, whitest guys in this country can be like, yes, dish it, like give me that.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of his appeal and why we all kind of like a little bit of that. Everybody likes a little bit of gossip, you know, Queenie gossip. So
it's also what you need to have like a once in a generation political figure like George Santos.
Oh God, I miss him so much. Bring him back. Bring him back. He was so good.
He was nightmarish moment. I mean, that was like very divisive for me and the gay people I know, because I think that's when it comes into politics, that's where I'm like, okay, you can queen out with whoever you want, but with the people that actually make moves in politics, like please do not. Like, what was that one? There was like some representative or something. It was like that girl jogging, and she's like, "Don't be gay and weak."
In America, you can be anything you want. Don't be gay.
She's like, be like strong and proud or whatever. And everyone was like, "Okay, slay, bitch." And I'm like, don't start that, because that virility is like what makes these people like get pushed forward. Like I'm from a Midwest family. Like I have so many friends, gay friends included, family members that love Donald Trump because he represents, like, he is the Mariah Carey of straight men who are disgusting. Like he's like, he can go in there and just like talk shit about the rich people and be like, "Oh, I'm one of you guys too." Like he has this very camp, like the idea of like my uncle who's like a little closeted gay man who's like obsessed with like I Love Lucy and like Precious Moments figurines. If you gave that man $1 million, he would be just like Donald Trump. Like he would like buy gold toilet, you know what I mean? A pretty girl because he's still closeted that he wants to hang out with him. Like it's like that's like he does resonate in that way with the diva behavior. But yeah, George Santos, like my God. So let that star die out, please, please.
He must be like for a lot of Jews, like Larry David is their George Santos because he's like too Jewish, like paint, like they're like, this is too much like my family, like I can't handle this. It's like too close to home. But yeah, George. Oh man, I love George Santos. I do miss.
Terrible.
He's such a crazy person. All the stories, all his lore just gets more and more insane. And so I don't know. But I can see how that can do damage. I feel that way. Like I try to explain to other Jews, like you're always an ambassador for who you represent wherever you go all the time. So like as a Jew, I overtip. I tip too much, just so people like be like he's a fucking cheap Jew. No. You gotta fight those. So yeah, I can see how as an ambassador for the gay community, George Santos set you guys back quite a bit.
Too far.
It's also like a situation that I feel like you can only uniquely enjoy if you're like under 40. I remember when George Santos got expelled from Congress. I would go on like on all the news sites like Rolling Stone, BBC, whatever, and be like, and on the Soundgeist account, be like, wow, we lost a good man today. And the boomers just went nuts. They're like, what's your definition of good? Like they take everything you say online so seriously.
That's incredible.
So yeah, I think when it comes to like gay edgy humor, I can see why. I mean, the being a lib, being a commie, quote unquote, there's no edge to that really. Like it's not edgy. The edginess exists on the right. Like they're like the punky people. It is edgy to like say the R word, even though not really, but it is kind of, so I feel like a lot of gay guys and people who kind of like that kind of culture associate or want to associate with these kind of right-wing figures because they are the ones pushing these boundaries in like fun and forbidden ways. And so I have to wonder like how sincere their beliefs are. There are like a lot of like gay modern fascists today, like Peter Thiel, Milo Yiannopoulos, that guy Perfume Nationalist, Nick Fuentes, from what I understand, is actually gay. So you have these like super right-wing figures who are like in a lot of ways
Marjorie
like,
Taylor Greene.
You think is she?
She's a gay man to me.
Why is that?
She's a muscle jock. She's just I don't know, something about her I'm like, yeah, that's like a dom top. You just leave it at that. I don't know what else to say. She reminds me of like every bus driver I've ever had in my entire life. Like the woman that like, runs the Casey's General Store type situation. That to me, she just feels like a very mean gay man.
I can see it. I can definitely see it. Maybe I'll Photoshop her as a man to promote this show.
Give her just like a Hulk Hogan goatee, like the blonde Hulk Hogan. That's it, and she's like literally good to go. Like she looks like every like older man from California I've ever hooked up with. Sorry to derail with that. Yeah, sorry. Let's refocus. Let's regroup. Go ahead and scrub that one.
No, it's staying. I'm too late to edit it out. Unless it's something that like could hurt your career, it's staying in.
No, I say this all the time. I'm constantly saying this. By the way.
So yeah, I wonder like a lot of the sincerity of the gay community when they support these people whose political positions actually like advocate for their annihilation. I always find that kind of bizarre. So I wonder like how I don't think it's sincere. I think that it's a mode of identifying, a mode of like it's the categorical imperative in these political spheres. And to bring it back full circle, with Cy and the stuff that you've been working on with like the music categorizations, I sometimes wonder if it's the same thing where it's like it's this need to belong, to give these things a name, like you just did, AJ, with like a dom top. Like there are these needs to categorize things, and I was wondering, especially with like the political compass, when it works on like a binary spectrum of sorts, like how that fits neatly into the way that AI or like the algorithmic math categorizes things and sells it back to us. And so what's the question I'm asking here? I'm throwing a lot of stuff out here, but should we abandon categorizations? I guess should we stop calling everything by a name Should we stop calling categorizing music? Should we stop categorizing identity? Like, is that actually in the long run harmful for us?
Yeah, we definitely should, but we won't. We have new categories being invented every single day.
Yeah, I agree. I think at some point everyone on their own individual level stops doing it, once they like have their own shit figured out. But I think also there's this big need for everyone as they go through life to like, oh, not me getting deep, to have to like find out where they belong, what they consider themselves to be. They have to like make things make sense for themselves. But like at some point you're just like, who fucking cares? You know what I mean? But yeah, again, it's not something we're ever going to lose in our lifetime.
Yeah, like it almost approaches
call it.
Self-parody. You probably seen that meme with the music genres where it's all different types of techno music, and then it's normal people. They're like, yeah, EDM music, and I think that it's same as it's a common joke. I think like conservatives make on like different categories of identification for during like Pride Month people, and it almost becomes a parody of itself where there's just so many different little classifications, genres, and it really could just comes up to the individual to decide what they are.
I just wonder if like the truly revolutionary thing to do would be to like abandon categorizations, because then it's like it's easy to sell stuff, when it's labeled, categorized, and I feel like as market algorithms begin to narrow us down further and further, the easier it is to categorize us, the easier it is to market and sell to us. And so, I feel like part of the problem too, especially within the LGBTQIAA or whatever it is now, is this like this need to name everything, this need to categorize oneself to fit in, and it seems like a hyper individualistic necessity. Like, how do you categorize yourself to yourself, right? Like how like everything is an outward definition of in-group belonging, blah blah blah. So I don't know. I do hope that one day we stop naming things. I mean, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, that's really interesting too. Like, I feel somewhat adjacent to that. Is it's overwhelming of how many categories there are, and it's almost like searching for anything or working with an AI. You have to be very descriptive and know what you want exactly. And if you don't know, that's a huge roadblock of like finding what you are interested in. And I think that's kind of like we see kind of like a counterculture movement we have if like so many newsletters creators as tastemakers where they recommend or get a curation of guests every so often recommending what they've been into, where it's no longer just kind of being in that bubble, but people are kind of really interested in an organic, authentic recommendation that they wouldn't really come across naturally. So that's why like Perfectly Imperfect is so successful. Dream Baby Press, the Soundgeist newsletter at times. It's always people want an authentic
little self promo there.
Yeah.
That was slick. Oh my god.
A real kind of push of something that's not them or not in their algorithmic bubble, really.
I think that there's something to be said about categorization, despite how sometimes overly tedious it is, that it is necessary for the people who genuinely want something that is catered to them eventually. I feel like we are moving to a more algorithmically curated life for everyone. And so my biggest worry is like, okay, let's say, instead of like doing LGBTQIA, 2S plus whatever, it was just gay. Well, guess what? Now we all have to fucking listen to the same thing every single day. Like the new Katy Perry single that's going to come out, I'm going to have to be sent that all the time. It's like, I think about Spotify, for instance, using that as a service, and recently they had like a huge round of, I believe they had a huge round of layoffs and started replacing like their playlist curators with like AI technology. And the playlist like took a huge dip for a while. And even for me, it's like I listen to a lot of weird music. My taste changes pretty often, but I was going through a phase of listening to like continuous piano. I'm listening to like an 89-year-old Ukrainian man play piano for like 12 hours in an album. And I'm like, this is what I want to listen to all day. And then the album would end and it'd be like, and now here's Lunch by Billie Eilish. I'm like, wait a second. Has nothing to do with an 89-year-old man from the Ukraine. I've never listened to Billie Eilish before in my entire life, And so I think right now it's like, there are certain things that I don't think need to be categorized. Like in the gay community, I don't care what kind of animal you define your body as. That's so freaking annoying. I hate hang-ups like that. But it's like, I do appreciate the subgenres of house music. There's certain house music I don't want to listen to, and I do appreciate that the subgenres of like R&B and just everything else, because I want to be able to find the things that work really well for me instead of getting, plunged face first into like a sloth trop of just like shit all the time.
Yeah, I feel like the problem with these categorizations is because it helps with marketing so much that I remember when I was younger and I would discover music not passively but actively, not because some algorithm was like, oh, you like these genres that are oftentimes associated with each other, here's some more of it. It was like I was a skater when I was a kid, and skate music videos always had like new music that I'd never heard of before because it wasn't like a part of my social circle. I think that when you stop relying on market categorizations to learn about the world, it forces you to go out in it. And I think like categorization helps us become like just these passive consumers constantly, where it's just like the binary sort of algorithm of this is what works with you serves that. So if we stop categorizing things, if we stop calling things by names, it forces us to go in search of them in a more active way.
Me and
it's just the natural end product of capitalism. We have 25.
Oh, someone said the C word. I have the Pee Wee Herman C word. Ding, 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 ding. C word. Oh, well, guys, this has been a really fun conversation. I want to give you a chance to categorize yourselves in order to promote and market yourselves to the audience. So, AJ, why don't you tell us where people can find you and what your pronouns are?
Sure, yeah. You can find me on Instagram at AJ Deluxe. I'm on Twitter at AJ Deluxe, followed by an underscore. My pronouns are... I was like,
you don't actually have to do that.
That bitch, mama. Like, get all gay all of a sudden at the very, very end of the podcast. I would describe myself as just an online pervert. Regardless, a pervert of all things. Yeah, that's what I would take.
I like a pervert of all things. That's a great one. I like that.
Everything deserves to be perverse at some point or another. Yeah.
If I steal that from you too, I'll tag you in it.
Put it on a camo hat and ship it to me overnight. That's what I want.
All right. Cy, what's up? Where can people find you?
And you can find us. We're most active on Instagram. The.Soundgeist. We're a faceless entity for the most part, but it's an account that feels like I like to think has a real personality to it. Great for anyone that has a sort of indie leaning into music taste, but we cover pretty much anything of the zeitgeist, film, movie, fashion. So though follow. We also have a newsletter where we interview artists. We have some new cool articles coming up. We interviewed Will Ferrell's son the other day, which will be cool. You can follow us, and we appreciate every follower.
All right, well, thanks again, and I'll see you on the internet.
In the morning, gotta be fresh, gotta go downstairs, gotta have my bowl, gotta have cereal, seeing everything, the time is going, ticking on and on, everybody's rushing, gotta get down to the bus stop, gotta catch my bus, I see my friends, kicking in the front seat, sitting in the back seat, gotta make my mind up, which seat can I take? It's Friday, gotta get down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend. Friday, getting down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend. Partying. Fun. Looking forward to the weekend. 7:45, we're driving on the highway, cruising so fast, I want time to fly.